Hello there, many thanks for still staying with us on Plus TV Africa, where we have some hard talk as Nigeria decides it is 12 days to the election. An interesting development concerning the election continue to unfold. Remember to follow our hot topics and share your thought on our social media platforms at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and also watch us live on YouTube as well.
Yes, of course, you can't be left out of the conversation. When we take a look at the past elections in the country, the race for power remains keenly contested by just two major political parties, and we know who they are. Hence, there have been talks about a third force and strategies to cause some paradigm shift. What are the chances they would succeed? Well, we have in the studio our guest to discuss this issue. First, the legal practitioner, Obi Ajegbo, and of course, she has been on the show before. It's good to have you, madam. We also have Achike Chude. He's a public affairs analyst. It's good to have you in the studio.
A pleasure.
Now, quickly before we delve into the major topic of today, where we're looking at the third force and what this all means, but you would consider this weekend to have been an interesting weekend, because back to back, as we're counting down to the elections, we always see that the weekend has some interesting development unfolding. Now, we had the vice president's helicopter crash. Well, investigation according to the Accident Investigation Bureau is underway, and definitely would have some reports from that. And another interesting twist was the 15,000 uncollected PVCs that were burnt by unknown gunmen who attacked the INEC office in Abia State. And according to the resident electoral commissioner, Joseph Ilo, he also said that, well, the register was also burnt. We would like to have your reaction on all of this development as it affects the elections.
Mr. Chude, we'll start with you first.
Well, that of the vice president.
No, the PVCs this time.
Okay, the
yes.
PVCs. Of course, it's an unfortunate incident. 15,000 is quite a number. If you look at how close some of the elections we've been having in the country have been, But then, this is a political crime. That's where I'll look at it. Gunmen attacking an INEC office, destroying PVCs. Obviously, these are anti-democratic forces. And obviously, I want to believe that they were on an assignment, whose assignment is really, the million naira question. But they were there definitely to cause some mischief.
Well, some parties will say if they can't protect the PVCs, the uncollected PVCs, then what happens when we have the election proper? This is INEC's office we are talking about here.
Well, we've had the INEC offices getting burnt, before with lots of computers and lots of information in those places being burnt to the ground. So it's not exactly a new thing, But then the reality is, it is still a terrible, situation that INEC such sensitive materials cannot exactly be protected, by INEC and the security agency. So it doesn't bode well, for the election that is incoming. Because again, the people who did this, like I said, were motivated by whatever reason we don't know. For all you know, they are also sitting there planning something else, and so one has to be careful. But I would expect the best thing would have been, for a very quick investigation, get the people behind it, and then get the masterminds behind the people that caused this, so that you can remove them from the scene, so they don't cause more damage. Really, there's something going on, and it's not palatable in any sense. Of course, we've heard rumors, all kinds of. It's not just rumors. People, to whom they happened, have come forward to talk about people, coming to see them in their houses and all of that, trying to collect numbers of their PVCs and pay 1,000 for that. I think somewhere in Ojota, around Ogudo there, somebody who knows one of the people was told by, I think, a Uber driver that this was exactly what happened in his home, and then to their neighbors. So people have been hearing these stories before. Now INEC says that the security measures they are put in place to protect the PVC cards are are foolproof. If they are foolproof, people will not be going around paying money, because they are expending resources to be able to get at people's PVC numbers. So that tells you that somehow they have found a way.
But now, The call for a third force or the establishment of a third force is nothing necessarily new, but it also gained a whole lot of momentum when former President Olusegun Obasanjo said, well, there was the coalition for a new Nigeria to cause some sort of paradigm shift that we've just had. Just the two main opposition parties always tussling it out when it comes to power in Nigeria. But now we find out that he's tilted a little bit and left that supposed third force and is now backing the Achike-led campaign. What do you make of this third force, and really, do you think they can wield any power to have any change been done? Because we also see the team of Mogalu and then Fela Dorotoye as well, now called the force.
I don't know if they constitute any force of any kind. I mean, the reality is that when you talk about a third force, it presupposes a first force, second force. And because it is used within the political lexicon, we will assume that the first and second force are the PDP and the APC. They are the two biggest political parties. And so what it presupposes again is the emergence of a political party that has the force and the capability to be able to dislodge the PDP and the APC. So it's from that perspective. So what it tells you really is that you need a political party that can muster the energy, that can muster the resources,
just
that
like
can
any
muster the force, that can muster the force, that can counter, whatever force that the PDP and the APC represent. And so when you look at it from that perspective, you realize that it's a pipe dream at this particular point in time.
So it's simply a purpose vehicle to just snatch power?
No, you see, there is a need to have a people-led, people-inspired, people-motivated, people-centered, political force. If you want to change the system, there has to be a revolutionary movement towards changing that system. You understand? In terms of the capacity, it's something that has to flow from the people, because I mean it is like two cars moving in opposite direction at full speed. It takes the car with the bigger speed and with the bigger force and perhaps the bigger strength and weight to dislodge the other one, from the path it is headed. So it's like physics from that perspective. So when you are talking about a force, that force must be big enough, must have enough resources, must have enough capability to be able to unseat the forces, the prevailing forces that are on ground at this particular
just
point
like
in
we
time.
had the emergence of the APC, do you think we have any political party, any force, any coalition that is strong enough to
I've already said so. There is nothing on ground. It has to be built. It has to, and I said it has to be revolutionary. And it has to be something that is diametrically opposed to what you have today in terms of two dominant political parties, ideology-wise, and then in terms of its strength and its ability, and in terms of its resources, the resources that are available to them. We do not have such a party, that has been able to permeate the political space in this country, that has been able to get into the consciousness of Nigerians, that has been able to motivate Nigerians, that has been able to instigate, the quantum of anger and desire for change, in the minds of Nigerians. And that is what you need. We do not have that force today. Today you're talking about whether it is Mogalu, it is all the other people too that are in the field today. They might have good intentions. They might have good desires in terms of what they want to do within the polity. But good intentions don't win elections.
To you, Mr. Ajegbo, I'm just wondering, Ayefayoshe last year had called out OBJ's third force and said it is no force. What he said, because just to re-echo what you said, they have no powers, and he has not seen anybody any party as strong as the APC and the PDP. And you cannot unseat something that you're not more powerful than. Again, Professor Wole Soyinka recently just denied being a member of, the Third Force's coalition. He said he's that he was all for any movement that would unseat the APC or the PDP and, you know, bring a fresh government. But as for the third force, so it seems like everybody's disassociating themselves from Obasanjo's third force, and it makes me want.
First of all, I don't think it's about this, you know, disassociating from Obasanjo's third force. There's a belief that you need something else to be able to unseat these people, but it is the conceptualization of that force itself and the working of that force to make sure to bring it to existence that is the problem.
But the concept of the third force, the idea of the third force from its inception, according to the third force's mandate, they said they wanted a coalition that would rescue Nigeria from impunity, from the two dominant parties, and a lot of people thought it was laudable at first, so maybe it went wrong somewhere.
It's a good idea, but look at APC. APC merged as APC 2014, but before then, the national leader of APC has been around for about 15-20 years. So anything that we have to do now, if you want to start a new movement, you have to lift it upwards. Not what Moyalu and Sowore are doing, going for the top. You have to build your structure up.